2, we are about to paint this man's whole head, okay? Now listen, before y'all get on me in the comment section, let me tell y'all why. So my client, this is actually my older cousin, he did not want to get rid of his hair, okay? Now this is me. I would just cut it like super low at all times, like maybe like one close against the grain and just get a lineup, you know what I'm saying? But he wants to keep it dark and have a nice full hairline because he's not that old, you know what I'm saying? So I understand, you know what I'm saying? I understand what he's going through. So most people come to me when they don't want to let their hair go, or they don't want to get a certain cut to, you know, fix their hair that will work basically. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut his hair down to a 2 closed. We're gonna leave the lighter areas untouched. All right, we're just gonna like kind of like graze over them. All right, and we're gonna try our hardest to finesse this head to make it look full as possible, but also not too fake. Okay, so what we did was comb it out and then basically cut it down. Now we're brushing it using our 360 GZ V1 brush. You can get that at 360gz.com, and I'm gonna walk you guys through how I basically painted this man's whole head. Okay, so this is just to line up in the sides and the back. Mind you, he's not getting no tapers, no none of that. He's just cutting it down and getting the line up. So I'm gonna let this part speed through, and when the line up come back around, I'm gonna walk y'all through it. Okay, now here's the tough part. Now the front part grows more, obviously, like you can see, it grows more than the middle. So we're gonna cut that down to a 1 and try to blend it into the middle of his head so it doesn't look so, like a big difference. I don't want it to look so noticeable. So what we're doing is cutting it down now before we even prep it for the lineup. And as you guys can see on both of the sides, basically the taper area, it basically grows backwards towards his ear. So when we was cutting his head down, we did have to cut in that direction, because if you cut it down straight, it's going to become lighter, and I had to learn that. The first time I cut his hair, I had to learn that. So ever since then, I noticed it from there on, and I made the changes. And now you can see like the sides don't look as thin like they did before I started cutting his hair, because I cut them with the grain, which I had to figure out what the grain was. So now we're just gonna line it up after using the hairspray and cleaning out the skin. We're gonna try to line it up and get it crispy as possible. Now we did have to cut some of this hairline off, because if we don't, it's not gonna look like he has an edge up. As you guys can see, I'm taking my time, making sure I stamp this lineup in there. And every lineup you do is not going to be straight, man. Like, you have to make it symmetrical to the client's head shape. Every client does not have that perfect round shape that you could create that illusion that the lineup is straight. Okay, some people have a round, like curved head to where it looks like an oval kinda, but it has to look symmetrical to the head shape. Like, it has to match. So you might have somebody that might have a flatter forehead that you could just slap a nice crispy straight, you know what I'm saying, symmetrical lineup on. And then you might have a lineup like this that starts at a higher point in the front of his lineup and then curves down as the sides come around. So, you know, you guys have to learn head shapes and learn symmetrical, I don't know the word I'm supposed to be using, but you gotta just learn how to work around people's head shapes, basically. So now it's time for the enhancements. This is the part a lot of people are not gonna like, but this is what my client wants. Okay, we are basically going to enhance every area that is not dense. Okay, every area that y'all see on his head that's not dense, we are going to enhance it. All right, now this enhancement does stay in the skin, and it lasts a good amount of time if you use it the right way. So my client basically keeps the do-rag on until he has to leave somewhere and basically show his hair so it can last longer. And right here we're going to spray in this huge thin spot, and I did leave the actual crown. So if you guys have ever seen like a waver, you'll see like a bunch of waves and then that little tiny spot. That's basically what I did, just to make it appear more natural, so it doesn't look like I just, gave him a hair unit or something fake. I wanted to look a little real, so I did leave his actual crown so it could look like that's like his regular hair. So after applying that layer of color enhancement, we are going to use fibers on top. The fibers are basically going to stick to the enhancement and allow it to stay longer and not just fly off when he walks out the door. Being that the enhancement still stains the skin, what you're going to do after you spray it is use the fibers while the enhancement is still wet. That way when everything dries, the fiber can basically last as long as the color enhancement. So now after applying those 2 layers, we're going to add another layer of hairspray just to lock it all in, and then we're going to blow dry it with cold air. Do not use warm air because it's going to cause it to melt and not last long at all. So as you guys are doing this, you just want to tap it with your hand at the top just to see if everything is dry. And once everything is dry, then you can move on to the next step. And as you guys can see, he's looking way like super crispy right now. It doesn't really look too fake. The enhancement isn't too shiny. I think this is as natural as enhancement as you can get, man. Like this is a clean look. Like it just looked like he having an enhanced hairline. It doesn't really look like I just sprayed his whole head. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you guys will agree with me. And if you don't, I know it's gonna be people that don't anyway. So after doing enhancement, you are gonna use the razor just to clean that lineup up, make everything last as long as possible. But even from this angle, you guys can see like the top of his head does not look like I sprayed it in. It just looked like his hair. And that's where the hair fibers come in to make it look as natural as possible.
Kev, you did that.